Hey there, Appison. Welcome to another Weekly Wednesday video. Hope you're having a great week. Have you ever wanted God to do something great in your life? Have you ever been in an impossible situation and wished and hoped that God would make a happy ending of it? Have you ever been in trouble and prayed and hoped that God would break through that trouble and show himself on your behalf? I want to share with you one of my favorite Psalms, Psalm 126. It's labeled as a song of ascents. It's one of those songs that the children of Israel would sing as they would march up the mountain to Jerusalem. And it says in verse 1, when the Lord brought back the captivity of Zion, we were like those who dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with singing. Here's a picture of these people so happy. They're feeling like they're living a dream. And it says then in verse 2, that then the people watching them said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, whereof we are glad. That verse says, when the Lord brought back the captivity of Zion. You'll remember that the children of Israel had been exiled into foreign lands. They were in Babylon and in captivity. But God brought them back. And when he brought them back, they were full of joy and gladness. Now, this psalm here completed is being recited and sung long after that fact. The singers begin by reminding themselves of how God worked in their past. And then it takes a turn in verse 4, and it says, bring back our captivity, O Lord, as the streams in the south. It reminds me of that famous statement from Ellen White, that we have nothing to fear for the future, except as we forget how God has led us in the past. You see, the children of Israel were remembering how God had done the impossible for them. They were a scattered people throughout the nations of Medo-Persia and Babylon, and they had been exiled, and they'd lost their homes, and Jerusalem had been destroyed, yet now God had brought them back, which to the other nations seemed foreign. Like, how could that have happened? The Lord must have done something great for them. I wonder, can you think of any time in your life when God has done something great for you? I know plenty of times in my life where maybe God saved my life, spared my life through a dangerous situation, or maybe times when he answered my prayer or led me in just the right set of circumstances so that I saw him working in my life. You know, it's so good for us to remember back to what God has done for us in the past. And that gives us hope and joy and expectation for the future, even when we have troubles today. The psalm ends saying, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. He who continually goes forth weeping, bearing seed for sowing, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. Here is pictured the harvest time, and whatever you sow, whatever seeds you put in the ground, they will reap a certain fruit or a certain plant. And it's saying those who sow in tears will reap in joy. What it's trying to say is, look, it may be hard to do the work of following God. It may be hard sowing in tears, but there is coming a time when we will reap in joy. Do not grow weary in well-doing, for if we do not lose heart, we will reap the harvest that God has for us. I hope you know in whatever challenges or trials or troubles of this life that you face, that if you will set your heart to follow God, if you will sow, even if it has to be in tears, that there is coming a time when you will be able to reap that reward in joy. Heaven is cheap enough. One day we're going to be in heaven and we're going to look at all the trials and troubles and sacrifices we've made in this life to follow God, and we're going to think that was absolutely nothing. Heaven is cheap enough. It is totally worth it. And so I want to encourage you this week, whatever you might be facing, whatever trouble or trials or difficulties you have, remember what God has done for you in your past, and let that give you encouragement and courage to live for God today, even in the midst of whatever trouble you have, even in the times when it is hard, because there is coming a day when, just as he did the impossible in the past, he is going to do the impossible in your life. Those who go forth with precious seed, though they sow in tears, they will reap in joy.